This here is a pipeline to which I used since I started doing business in Houston, Texas, right? But the pipeline is basically where all of the properties you receive via email, text, whatever flows through, to then where a team will break it down to see if you're actually going to invest in it or not. So for this year, we have looked at close to actually a little over 1,200 right properties that were sent to us. And this was actually only between March to now, right? Earlier, it was going through a whole different system pipeline, so I didn't even capture all of those deals as well. But I'm showing you all this because it's actually going to play into what Matt is going to be showing us today, right? In order for me to actually make money on the flips I'm going to make, I need to understand the market, what's happening in it, and if these are actually a good deal or not. Mind you, everything that's in here actually was with my buy box. But for some reason, it wasn't a deal for us to get into. And what Matthew's going to show you all here today is actually going to be a major thing I use within my system, whether it's initially looking at the deal or somewhere in my pipeline to see if I'm actually going to get into it or not. So although we have been getting into one property per month, we actually could have gotten into a lot more of them, but it would have been not a deal for us to where we could probably be profitable on it, whether for the exact return or the time we could have taken to flip it. So what he's going to show you all today is why we have actually been able to do one a month, not due to the volume, but actually it being a good deal versus just being a deal to where you can potentially lose money on. Okay? But that's going to be all for my side today. And I just want you to truly pay attention to what he's saying because he's also going to be coming and speaking again in another group to where he's going to get a lot more in-depth to some of the stuff that you'll truly may need to use when it comes to your own pipeline as well. Okay.
So I'm cold, so my hands are in my pockets. This is what I look like in a suit. I was supposed to wear a suit today, but I was out working in real estate. So yes, I'm a licensed appraiser here in the state of Texas. Y'all know that probably already. I'm also the author of the Advantage Report. Once a month I put together a report of 42 different market areas in and around Houston and publish a report on price, what prices are doing in each one of those, how those prices compare to individual markets, what the market's doing overall. But I created this report for my clients. So if you get appraisals from me, obviously I'm going to be giving this report to you. Sometimes I'll give the report out to friends as well. But so I create it every month. It comes out every month, so you'll have a good understanding of where things are good and where things are not so good. There's opportunities in good and there's opportunities in bad. Right now, we were talking earlier about Galveston. Galveston is in the right now. So, and they're down probably, I don't know, 40 or 50%. So their pricing is down, their demand is down, and their inventory is way up there. So it's a good opportunity to get in there and get a good price on some properties in Galveston. These aren't properties that are on the beach. Stuff that's on the beach is not for sale. But most of the numbers that you'll see in that report have to do with that. Hey, scooped me out of my element. I'm an investor too, I'm a flipper. I've got 3 or 4 flips under my belt. I'm no expert, but I do have experience in that. And I'm a Hustlenomics representative for Sienna and Mary Diana, I call it, or Diana, I think they pronounce that. So I sell homes to people that want to build. So that as well. I'll give you my card before I leave. That's my phone number. My email isn't on there. It's matt@housetohouse.com. housetohouseappraisal.com. Right down there. Okay, thank you. Okay, getting to ARV. So the $64 question is, for us in our business, is how much is the subject house worth? So we're interested in a house, we can get it under contract, and I want to know how much that house is worth. So everybody has a process in there in how they go about doing that, and they're all probably a little bit different. I'm going to tell you how I do it, and hopefully they'll learn something. Okay, next. So understanding relative value. Everybody does this. Everybody shops around for shoes. Everybody shops around for clothes. Everybody shops around for cars. Do the same thing. So when I asked my wife, God bless Carolyn, what neighborhood do you want to live in? She goes, I don't know. I want to go there. And I got to drive over to the neighborhood, and look around, and I'll tell you what I like and if I like it. And that's what she does. That's what a lot of people do. That's what your buyers do. So when you want to pick a neighborhood, whether you want to pick a supermarket, and houses are the same. My lovely wife goes into a house and looks around and sees what she likes. Next. Okay, so what those likes usually break down into is what's called features and benefits. Every house has features, and all those features have benefits. So in case of the neighborhood, it has parks and bike paths and all those kinds of things. That's a feature. The benefit is improved quality of life. Same thing for the grocery store: fresh foods, better meals, etc., etc. Hardwood floors, easier to clean. Next. Okay. Oop. Get back up. Right. Get ready to do that. Sorry. One more. Okay. So, how much are you willing to pay for each of those features and benefits is really the question. In our business, we're in, somebody was just asking me, and I told him, a professor I once had told me to never wallow in the mud with the pigs. Sometimes you have the power to change what's in front of you, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes the ARV will be what you thought it was, will be something else. So sometimes you get into a pinch, and sometimes it's good to just remember, never wallow in the mud with the pigs. Because the pigs like it, you don't, and all you're going to do is get dirty. So know when to walk away is important. Okay? So how much are people willing to pay for these features? What's the cost of doing business? I'm here trying to make money. I've got to know what this house is worth. Okay, next. Okay, there are basically three kinds of houses in our market. There's the original house. Next. The original house has no upgrades. It has original everything. It has the old style, the yellows and green shag carpet. That's the original house. House number two is an updated house. This is a house that people like to rent. These houses are I call them make-readies. They're updated, they have deferred maintenance, but they're painted inside and out. They basically have, new countertops. This is classic. You'll walk into a house, all new countertops everywhere. Everything has marble or something on it, but it's got the old fixtures in it, and it's got the old sink sitting in it. So they think that granite countertops is all they got to do. And then number three is down here, remodeled. This is us. This is where we exist most of the time. Remodels have new everything. This is what I call condition 2. You'll hear me say condition 2. Some of you heard me say that. But this is condition 2. This is new everything. This has a new roof. How long do roofs last? 30 years?
20 to 30 years.
In Texas, it's only 15. It says 30 on the package. When you go to open up the package to start putting the shingles on, it says 30 on there. But they mean 15. So, how long does the air conditioning system last? 10 years. Does anybody disagree with that? No. Okay. We'll make it a rule. So 10 years is how long that lasts. But anyway, remodels are what we do. We remodel things, and usually those are some of the highest ARV on the market. Let me take the next one. Okay, so let's say this is one of the flips that I've done. It's over at the crotch of 10 and 99. It's called the Williamsburg settlement. The house that I flipped was right here. Now, when you're picking out your comps and trying to figure out your ARV, best to stay local, right? Don't cross any roads. Try to choose a single subdivision. And you can tell subdivisions because they're not connected to anything but surface streets. So, like this subdivision doesn't connect directly to this one without going through this street, right? Also, you'll notice that there's waterways or canals that are often part of the makeup. Bridges are expensive, so they don't usually cross canals, right? So, but always try to pick a subdivision. And when I go and when I do my search, I try to do as wide a search as possible. I'll try not to limit it at all. I want to see everything, so it basically shows me everything. Go ahead and hit the next one. So when I do a search like this is what pops up. I tell it I want all the actives and I want all the sales for the last year, right? All of our real estate agents know that. And this is what you'll get. And most of the time, you'll find at the year built, you'll look over here at the year built, and they'll all be within 2 or 3 years of one another because they're all built basically at the same time. That's good. That's what you want. You don't want a house that's 20 years different. So always look over here and find out the house is 20 years different. Don't tell the computer to sort those out for you. You sort them out. Because if the computer's sorting them out for you, it's making mistakes. And you don't want mistakes. You want to be able to get everything possible. So check this, be sure that's good. Super important, check the days on market. Okay? If a house is really got a lot of great features and it looks really good on paper, but you look at the days on market and it was like over 100, there's something wrong with the house. Eliminate it. Get rid of it. Don't let that house get into your, screw up your numbers. So this one, so it's at a lower price anyway. This one's a throwaway. And then just kind of glance up and down here. What are the bigger numbers? 50 and 30s. So anything below 30 is usually a good number. So, and keep that number in mind because that's all the interest you're going to be paying, right? So when you go get your hard money loan out and you get to work and you're actually working, that's the, you want to keep that number in mind, plan for that number. And some of us, plan for double that number. I don't know, Shaq, you doing that still?
We definitely have that number pretty high of how long we're going to be holding the properties.
Does anybody else have an opinion about days on market and how you, okay?
Since I've been starting, that's my number one thing.
Days on market?
And the cost.
Carrying cost, yeah.
Cost of ARV and days on market.
Yeah. There's CDOM too. Continuous days on market, right? So what's the difference between those two? You're the realtor.
I'm a relatively new realtor, but
I don't care.
I'm going to assume it means if it was taken off the market and put back on.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So, or they changed it. It was continuously on the market, but they changed realtors or brokers, right? And so then they want to start the clock over again, but they're not allowed to do that. So that CDOM is there. So, what's the rule? Who knows the rules? New realtor.
Mm-hmm.
What's the rule is, correct me, could be wrong. The rule is it has to be off the market for 60 days. Is it 30 or 60 before you can reset the clock? So your day on market, does that reset the clock after 60 days? So you have to say 60 days off. You can't just go 30 days.
Yeah, it's 60.
Is it 60?
It's 60.
Okay, 60 days. You have to take it off the market completely for 60 days, and then you can start over at 1. Right? So, Okay, what's also important? So on this list, what's shouldn't ask this question. What's the unusual thing? What's unusual here? When you look at these numbers, what's unusual? It's sorted from most expensive to least, and they're all, you know. The thing that's different is the two actives. Those are that's number 1 and number 2 on the most expensive list. That's why we don't use CMAs. A CMA is always going to be high. So you get a good CMA, that's fine. But realize that they're using a CMA is first and foremost created to help sell a house. And the house is going to be listed for more than what the house is normally, more than what the house is going to sell for. Normally there's something called a list price to sale price ratio. Normally it's around 98% or 90%. Lately it's 80% sometimes. I've seen 80s, 70s. So CMA, you got to be careful. CMAs are, I don't like them. I like to stay away from them. But if you have a CMA or if you want to do a CMA and you have some questions, call me, because we're all part of the big group now. So give me a phone call, you have my phone. And if you have a question about it or if you have some doubts about it or whatever. Also, now that I've beaten up realtors, I'm realtors, so I can beat myself up. And I can beat my wife up. Shouldn't, but that's another story. So, they tend to use the term average. Average is not a good number. Real estate pricing is not normal. What that means is that real estate pricing isn't normal data. You all have heard about the bell-shaped curve, right? So the bell-shaped curve means is that the average or the average and the median are going to be on the same line. So if you have a normal bell-shaped curve, average and median are the same number. If the shape of the curve is not bell-shaped, if it's skewed right or left, then the numbers are very different. Sometimes in some data sets you can see it, like they'll have the average sale price and then they'll have the median sale price, and the two numbers will be different. And sometimes they'll be way different. So it's when those two numbers are the same that you can go ahead and use the average and be okay. But if the two numbers are not the same, that means that the data is skewed. And it's skewed, it can be skewed a lot. For example, a house, average sales of a home in downtown is $550,000. The median sales price is $400,000. So it could be out by $150,000. So that's why we don't use that. So don't use averages. I don't use average cost per square foot. Don't use those. So you have my phone number. You have other realtors in the room that can help as well, and we can help you figure out which number to use. Okay. What else is on this? Lot size. Very important. Look up here, 10,000. There's one at 17,000. These are all at the top of the list with the most expensive. So maybe there's a very close relationship between price and how big the lot is, right? There's another one down here. Here's 11,000. So maybe not, right? I run regression analysis to figure this out. Most people don't know how to do that. But it's a mathematical way of figuring out if there's a relationship between those two numbers. So it's called regression analysis. You've probably heard about it before. Sometimes you can use it, sometimes you can't. But that's mainly the way I figure out whether or not a lot has a relationship with the price. Okay, next slide. Okay, now we got rid of those two actives, and we're still have quite a spread here. Now the sale price, let's see, the square footage of this house that I flipped, which was the little red dot, was 2,600 square feet. So the very next step to isolating which comps you're going to use is to figure out the square footage. And the square footage plus 200 minus 200. Okay? Because when I'm appraising and I'm going across the list and I'm seeing these houses have, 400 or 500, square feet difference, and I'm going to get out my calculator and do a whooping on it. So you want those to be very close. In this example, 1975 is the lowest, 3,300 is the height. See, mine was at 26. This isn't it, but mine was at 26. So I would go 200 below and 200 above, no more. All right, next slide. So you're going to end up with some list like this, which I thinned out using square footage. Now, comps that have different square footage is the main problem with CMAs, because a CMA does not calculate the difference in square footage. You kind of do that in your head, right? That's what we all do. We look at the square footage. Oh, that house is a little bigger, a little more money. I'll add a little bit, or I'll subtract a little bit. That works most of the time. But again, you can use the CMA or call me, and I can give you a little help in that regard, and not charge you any money, obviously. So only when you call me up and say, Matt, I want an appraisal, and I get out my ching-ching and say that'll cost X, Y, and Z. Appraisals for new guys are going to be cheap. Appraisals for good guys are expensive. Cheap, expensive, cheap, expensive. But so we can always work something out, right?
I'm new again.
Yeah, okay. I know you're going to be calling me, right? But anyway, so you end up with a list that looks a lot like this. Now, comps are very important. The details of this is very important. Somebody's always going to think that your finished product isn't worth what you say it is. And you're going to have to stand up and defend it and say, yes, it is worth what I say it is, because these are my comps. And I did X, Y, and Z to that house. And this house in my comps had all those same features that my house has. So I know my house is just like that. And I can tell you down to the last screw in the wall as to why my house is the same as that house. So you have to know the details. It's a pain in the butt to do it. There's a process. Do it. Do the process. How are we looking here? So in this, what's the price range? Somebody who's looked at this, tell me what the price range is. It's 330 to, well, the cheapest house up here is 309.
So
Oh, 299, right? Okay. So there's the bottom. Know the range, and know the top. All right. And that's where you're going to start. From there, that's where you're going to start. I'm not going to pick you comps using this, but this is what you'll have to use. And there's a process. Go to the next slide. This slide is very busy. Forgive me. It has a lot of detail to it. I will email you this Excel file. And I want you to use this Excel file on all of your comps. And you compare your comps using this Excel file. This Excel file kicks out a number down here. It's a quality score and a condition score. Quality and condition are very important to us. What we do when we flip a house, we improve the quality by putting in granite and tabletops and countertops, and we improve the master bathroom with new cabinets, new countertops, new bathtubs, new showers. Custom showers cost a lot. Anybody can go in there and throw in a fiberglass tub basin and throw some, walls around it and be done with it. This stuff costs a lot of money. So it's very important to know the details of what that costs you. First of all, you want to figure out, do I want that detail in my build, right? This house has that detail is important to that house, right? So do I want to include that in my build? You're going to use this tool to figure that out, right? So you're going to go through each of those comps I did on the previous page, and you're going to run this analysis on each one. You're going to look at every picture. You're going to look at everything that's available online. You're going to go to the house yourself. You're going to peek in the windows if you have to, but you're going to find out the answers to these questions. The question is this item list of 23 and another 23 over here, right? You don't need a certified appraiser to come in and tell you. Just do it in your mind. Figure this stuff out. You guys are smart, right? Roof is here. The type is a comp. Its quality is standard. Everybody expects a roof, right? Every house has a roof, so it's not a dignifier, right? And then it has a quality score. Because it's a standard, it's a 1. Rules for quality scores are down here. Okay? This is going to make your eyes gloss over. So just power through, okay? Power through it. So quality scores are here. Upgrade is 2 points. Standard is 1 point. None is 0. Okay, that's quality. Down here is condition. New is 5 points. Like new is 4 points. Good is 3 points. Fair is 2. Poor is 1. None is 0. Okay, so brand new, most everybody can tell what a brand new countertop looks like. Everybody knows what brand new cabinets look like. The cabinet guys, every buyer walks into a house and walks right over to the cabinets and pulls one out and tries to close it and see if it closes slowly. I don't know why. They all do it. Right.
So if we are to use the score, right?
Right.
How would it have the score for it to be a C2 or C3 or C4?
Okay, that's a different measurement. Okay, so what Shaq is asking is, how does this relate to our condition and quality scores that we use as appraisers? Okay, I'm trying to make that, I'm trying to suck all of that into this spreadsheet to help you. So here, what I'm doing with this particular tool is to come up with what the Appraisal Institute says is a C1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, and a quality 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So on my side, I take your information from here and translate it. So this is going to help you rack and stack your comps as they compare to your. So the house that you want to flip, your choices are, there's a bunch of choices you're going to make. Do I want countertops in there? Do I want do I want to upgrade this? Do I want to upgrade that? This will give you that information.
So it's really going to help our rehab budget as well, for it to get more offers accepted. Because let's say we realize the comps are basically it's good for condition and it's not an upgrade, it's just expected. We don't have to go and put in a high concept in there, which is going to cost less and the rehab will be less. Right.
So you want to be profitable, right? So we're trying to help you be profitable here. So know these details. The devil is in the details, absolutely. So our scores of this condition scores, new, everybody can tell that. It's still got a wrapper on it. Like new, it's a year old, maybe. Good, I can't see anything wrong with it from 3 feet away. Right, that's good. Right? It's good if I don't feel like I need to change it. Right? Fair. Fair, I need to change that. If something's fair, like countertops, an entryway, The entryway floor is fair. That means you don't like it, right? You want to get rid of it, you put it on a list to get rid of it. That's what fair is, okay? Poor. Poor is, I got to take that out of here, it's costing me money just looking at it, right? So the old carpeting, whatever, these details are need to be scored. So we go through and we score each one. Let's take siding front. The type is hardy. Its quality is standard. It gets 1 point. The condition is good. It gets 3 points. Okay, so we know what standard is, and we know what condition is. So here we go. Where's the front door? I don't see it. There it is, front door. Front door type is French. That's an upgrade, right? Not every house has French doors, right? That's an upgrade. So you score that as an upgrade. It's a 2. And its condition is what? Good. So that got a 3. So you're going to go through each of these things on your house and on all the comps. And you're going to use this score to score your comps and your subject. Subject is the house that you're going to fix, right? And you want to compare those, and then you want to go back to the list before and go through that list and rack and stack that list. Which one's got the best quality and condition score? That one will be the most expensive, right? And you'll rack and stack those. It should be obvious.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So as flippers, right, whenever we go into a new property to fix it up, we sometimes think, okay, the kitchen cabinets look good, so we might not have to replace them.
That's right.
Refurbish it. So whenever it comes time to the appraisal, if we refurbish it, would it be considered a new condition?
Refurbished it. What does that mean?
Like sometimes people just
Paint them.
sand it, paint it.
Sand it and paint it.
Yeah. New hardware, new countertops, but the actual cabinet itself would be the old one. They just
Yeah, and I sniff those out like right now. So the question is, okay, new cabinets. This is a common one. Everybody does this. Everybody looks at the cabinets and goes, maybe we can just put doors on them or something, sand and paint. We've all sanded and painted cabinets and they come out okay. But the giveaway is that the wife walks in and opens one of those doors and it doesn't do that slow close thing, and then you're giving away, right? Also, if you look at hinges, new cabinets' hinges are hidden. You can't see the hinges, right? If you see pictures with a bunch of hinges, you got some old cabinets, right? But there are some super slick people out there that put just new doors on, right? So you go and get new doors, put them on the cabinet, make sure they look real nice. And that works pretty good. That's a 50-50 shot. It's not as expensive as more cabinets, but doors aren't cheap either.
So when the appraiser picks up the trick that was used, right, would it be like new or good?
Say that question again.
When the appraiser picks up the trick, right, that you guys should like replace the door, sand, and
that
right?
will cost you. Yeah.
Like new or good?
Where's my cabinet? Somebody find kitchen cabinets. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Type is hidden. So the hinge is hidden. That means it's an upgrade, so it gets a 2. If it says kitchen cabinets not hidden and standard, that's going to be a 1, right?
Understood.
So now your house is going to come out with a lower score, right? Sorry, this thing is so busy. I just made it this morning and I was like looking at it going, oh my God, this thing's terrible. But if you stick with me and just power through and do this for each one of yours, it'll be easier every time you do it. But you have to go through the pictures. Cabinets, that was a good example. Should I keep the cabinets or the old cabinets? No, you get rid of them cabinets because I'm going to figure it out fast. And the appraiser's going to figure it out right now. Maybe some of the consumers wouldn't as fast. I don't know. You got to weigh that decision for yourself. Cabinets are expensive, right? That island, an island is like, what, 3 or 4 cabinets? And the cabinets sometimes are $400 or $500 a piece, you know, depending on the stain grade or paint grade. The countertop isn't cheap, so you need to calculate that in. But know your property inside and out, and know your comps inside and out. We were talking earlier about a situation where a bank brought in a ringer appraiser, right? And that works for that bank for years and years and years, and they're buddies with that bank. And I'm not saying that they're crooks. I'm not saying that they upset me a lot, but they're out there. Be ready. Know your project. Know the money. Know why your house is worth more than that house over there. If you pull this out, they're going to run away. You pull this out, you say, well, my house is just like this. Mine has a score. I went through all this stuff. Here's my score on this one. And you pulled up, the bank says that, no, that's no good. And then you say, okay, give me your comps. And their comps are going to end up down here. And you have absolute 100, this is all from the MLS. It's nothing, these are all facts. Is that a fact? Yes, that's a fact. It's not an opinion, it's a fact. Right? These people are pigs. So, just be ready for them, know the process. And I got surprised by this lately, and it just really bothered me. So just be ready, know the process, know the phone number, pick up that phone and say, hey, I don't like this, it doesn't match what my guy says, and then, here's the proof, and see where it lays. Sometimes they're going to tell you, so, we're pigs. That's how they say, that's how they identify themselves as pigs, right? They just say so, it doesn't matter. So don't wallow in the mud, right? Time to get out. So people are just creeps. Anyway, so what else? What other good cabinet questions? Yeah, that cabinet question was a really good one. So, and that's all in here. Now, you might want to make your own list. You can see how I did this. I just did this morning on my computer. I've done it before, but I didn't have a scoring.
So basically, you just want to build out a rating system to your comps versus your subject property.
Yes.
Because me, myself, I have overspent on a rehab before.
Yeah.
Trying to put the bells and whistles in there, to which I cut out a little money on my profit margins.
Right.
But with this, it should help us really know, like, hey, how much
Do
should
you
we
need
spend
to?
on? Correct.
Yes. They didn't have, so let's say if I would have done what you did, what you just described, and made a C2 and everything in the neighborhood's a C3, why am I making a C2? So that's code, sorry guys. So why should I build a house that's better than anything that's there? I want to build a house that's the same as everything that's there. I want my house to fit right in. I don't want my house to be number one. I don't want my house to be the most expensive house in the neighborhood. You never want that. You don't want to be the bottom, and you don't want to be the top. You want to be that guy just below the top, right? So that's where you're shooting for, and this will allow you to do that, even though it'll put you to sleep. It put me to sleep looking at it this morning with you. God, this is awful. But okay, just be careful. Go through the quality score. Go through the condition score. Come up with a number here, and then if you get stuck, call me. Okay? But know what these things are. Be able to look for these things. Look for the hinges on cabinets. Look for the little details. You can tell these things by just looking at the comps pictures on the MLS question.
So, the lady from Purpose talked about the cabinets. What about like putting new doors on them, make them look like shake?
Okay, new doors is new shaker doors on them. It is going to hide the hinge because it's going to put a hidden hinge in there, and it's going to put a new door on there. So it's not free to do, but it is an improvement, and it'll keep people like me from seeing, because I won't be able to tell.
What about I know the newer cabinets have the slow close. What about you put all that on those as well?
You can do that. I use, the cabinet guys that I use are Cabinets to Go. You use those? I use those guys all the time. I'm a carpenter too, so I'm a builder.
You Jamaican.
I know, so I'll just, the first thing that comes through to my head is Carolyn, you know, I think I can make those carcasses myself and we can save some money doing that. And she never lets me. So I can't tell you. I don't really know. But theoretically, you can make your own carcass, which is just the frame, right? Then put the. But by the time I think when we costed it out, because she's an MBA too. But we costed it out, and Cabinets to Go was just about. It was very close.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm an investor, not a carpenter, right? Jesus is my man, but I draw the line there, right? So, right. Anyway, so use this method, know it inside and out, know your comps, know your bill. Use this to figure out whether or not you want to upgrade. Is it a good idea to upgrade this or that? Doors. Doors are a pain in the butt, 6-pound doors. Nobody wants to see them flat doors, right? Everybody wants to put in 6-pound doors. Do you put in 6-pound doors? I think you do.
On Sims, I believe it.
Yeah.
That's the more expensive ones.
Yeah. Solid doors, you know, those are, but just the cheap 6-pound doors, those are probably not too bad. But it takes a lot of time to put them in. They're a labor hog. So, interior doors are in here too. Windows. Oh, let's talk windows. Yeah, let's talk windows. Windows are expensive. Windows are expensive. Okay. I can tell a window from 100 yards away if it's new or not. Everybody can. Vinyl windows are easy to tell. They got big, thick edge on them all the way around. They got most of the double hangs have big latches on them, so you can tell in the pictures. So know your windows. Know if it's good. If it's got new windows in it. If you got to replace windows, do all your comps have replaced windows? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, you got to do it too. So you got to go through there and find out. Everybody, be sure all your comps are the same as yours. Okay, next.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about windows, but is there a way where you can just change the window frame and keep the glass if the glass is a good condition?
Yes.
Is that a way you could do that? How would that be rated?
And I don't. Yes and no. I know that they can do it, and they told me that they can do it, but the cost is so high that it.
You might as well get it.
Yeah. But labor to put windows in is super high.
Normally, let's say it's like a custom window, to where the design of the glass is so nice, we want to keep it, and
Yeah,
it
next.
might look good.
Yeah.
We would like make sense.
Okay, that's all the time I have today. So thank you very much for clapping. And I'll continue this conversation. So be sure that I have your emails before I leave, and I'll email you all a copy of that. Look at it and say, and if you have questions, Matt, how can I tell this? Or Matt, what are you crazy? There's a big error here, you know. I just made it this morning, so you know. But it accomplishes, I think, what we need to accomplish, and helping you guys be ready. Okay.
So we didn't have the calculator prior, right? The very last one there, Matt pulled out. That truly allows us to look at properties where, as in like actually scoring it, like see like, hey, what do we have to truly put in it to where we can be most profitable? And I'm going to be using that as well from now on in our system. But everything that's on here, me and Matt has spoken about one time or another. So when I showed you all that first image, right, and you all saw that it was a total of over 1,200 properties we looked at in the past year, right? It was going off of a lot of this information here of like seeing like, hey, would the profits be there on these properties? Or maybe it is. So we have all put in offers and we realize whether it's from a wholesaler or to a seller, they're like, hey, somebody sometime told them that this house is going to cost $50,000 versus our $60,000 to $70,000. This here is probably one of the reasons why. They're able to understand that market, that neighborhood, that area a lot better than you are, and understand what true finishes need to go in there versus what you're thinking. Because let's look at just 3 items, right? We're going to look at bathrooms, we're going to look at kitchen countertops, and maybe even doors. Those 3 items by itself can be between 5 to 10K in total, right? And if I am going to offer a wholesaler or a seller 150 versus 160, they're probably going to go with that 160 range. And I'm probably going to share with them how much that rehab is going to be. So I really want you all, you don't have to do it this extensive, as well as Matthew's going to send all this to us, but do your own and similar kind, because that can make you either make money on a deal or even get that deal. And all of us are working together as well as kind of against each other, right? I'm probably going to be offering on that same home that Tiffany is, or let's say that Richard is, right? We're going to be offering on the same exact property. So if I understand a bit better than you what are some of the finishes that needs to happen on that home, and I'm ordered to offer a bit more because of that, most likely I just got that deal to where you could as well make money on it. Right? So if you don't take anything else at all from what Matt said, this here I think is probably the biggest highlight in it. Really know and understand what needs to go into that home. Okay? Because this played such a major part in what we did this year and why we were able to accomplish the number we were. Okay? Do you have any questions for Matt at all though about anything? He has another, he sends out monthly a year-over-year analysis, right, of the entire Houston market. It goes all the way into zones and sections, and it breaks down every single zone and section to which he created, right? Meaning like he's like said like, hey, this is the zone, this is the section, so forth and so on. What that does for my team and I is we are able to tell what the hot markets are and what isn't, on 2 ways, whether it's a buy and hold or it's a flip. Reason why that's a difference as well as they are important. He mentioned earlier that, hey, Galveston right now is taking a beating. The prices are down between 40 to 50%. If I'm buying and holding, and one of my markets is Galveston, now is the perfect time to go and get in there. And no matter where interest rates are. Reason being, right, if I'm able to hold off for 6 months to a year, or whatever the seasonal period may be with my preferred lender, I can possibly refi in the future because I'm able to get such a great discount. But I wouldn't have known that information if I wasn't receiving that report monthly from Matt. Or let's say I'm a flipper, right? I'm probably looking for the market that has been growing the most over the last 6, 9 months to a year, or maybe even if you request from him, maybe 2 years, right? Because let's say I come across the same property I was talking about earlier that me and you are going to be competing against, right? And also, some people say don't do this. At times, I do it by just a little bit. If I know that area has been picking up more traction of people wanting to go live there, and I see right now on paper that after repair value is $300,000, I may at times bump it up to $310,000. Not because I can see the value on paper right now, but I know in the past year that houses have been going off the market faster, as well as the value has increased by this much. So most likely in that 3 to 6 months to when I'm selling, if it does stay on the same curve, most likely my home is going to be worth that or more, right? So the information you've seen here today and more what he does provide, it can help you overall make decisions on what you're going to be going into and not, and really zone into your market. Because what I might be going after and what you may be going after is 2 different things, but we're using these tools, it can truly help you get into these properties. And don't have to worry and question yourself, because a lot of people who have worked with us far, It's not that they don't know the information, it's that they're kind of second guessing themselves, or they might want an extra pair of eyes, or they're worried to make a bad decision, right? Real estate is like many other investing spaces. You use your tools and operations to basically agree with what you're thinking and thinking that your after repair value may be. And once those two can connect, then most likely you're giving yourself the best chance to make money and not to lose money. Right? That's really it for today.
Yes,
Go
I
ahead.
got one question. And it's probably for both of y'all, but given like the current status of like the real estate market, as things change, how do you readjust your ARV? Or how do you project that?
So, you want to speak on this or you want to?
Yeah, I can answer it. Okay, the market's heading in particular directions depending upon where you're at. Right? If I understand, maybe I should restate the question. So if the market's changing, how does that affect my ARV now?
I guess, does the market itself play into a factor of how you, from an investor standpoint, if I know the market, I see things are trending more days in the market, I want to, account that, for a future projection when I go to sell. Like, do you factor that in as an appraiser, and then from an investor, like, what are the vantage points in between that? And like, how the market plays into a factor of, what we should factor into our equation when getting an ARV.
So I'm gonna speak my piece first on it, right? So I do two things. The first thing is I need to see over the past 5 years, probably, right? Of like, hey, has this ever happened before? Right? Has the interest points ever spiked 2, 3, 4%, right, in this space of time? Because for me to sit here and try to guess on like what may happen without any data-driven information is going to be me lying to myself and everyone else. So let's say, right, like when it was last year, right, whenever everything really started changing, right, I think it was last August, right, last year August. At that time, in the business we were with, right, we were looking at and trying to understand how this ever happened before in the real estate market, and then what were the other events to occur. So whenever, let's say I'm thinking just on paper, because the last 3 months, right, or like actually the last 6 months, because I'm like talking about like coming off of the big COVID rise, right? Because I can't use the data from them after it corrected itself, how exactly did it affect the pricing? That's how I would go about it to see how much less my after repair value would be than what it would have been if this curve kept on going. So to overall put a pin in it, I would look as far back as possible to see what data I can collect if there was an occurrence of the same stature, to see how the price differential, not by numbers but percentage based, and base my numbers or my after repair value to that exact factor. That's how I would do it as an investor. Go off of history.
That's essentially what I would do as well. So I published this economic report, and in the economic report, it will tell you, depending upon which area you're in, whether or not things are going to be moving up or down based upon what's called outlook. The report uses outlook to tell you which direction your property pricing is going to go based upon a model of supply and demand. So I use a supply and demand model to produce an outlook, and that outlook is either positive, neutral, or negative. If your property that you're looking at is in that particular region and the pricing is up and the supply is down and the demand is up, that's all positive, right? So price is up, supply is down, demand is up. What's going to happen to price in the future? It's going to go up, right? So supply, let's say pricing is up, supply is up, and demand is down. What's going to happen? Things are going to go negative, right? So every month I'll get you a report that says that in your little area, wherever you're at, you can expect it to go up or down based upon those simple principles. Now, it's based upon price, and it lays it out kind of fairly well in the deal. So when you get this report, you'll be able to look at it, find where you're at, where your properties are at, and then look up in the spreadsheet where it says outlook, what the outlook is for your area and why. Now there's positives, neutrals, and negatives, right? A neutral would be, let's see, price is up, supply is down, but demand is down. See, that doesn't match. That's a neutral. I don't know. Can't do anything with that. There's quite a few of those, right? So there's probably about a third positive, a third neutral, hell, I don't know, and a third negative. Don't go there. So it gives you some kind of a crystal ball, but it's all history, right? Nobody knows the future. You know, we try to do little things like this, make ourselves feel better. but it gives you it does give you an indicator.
So going back to the Galveston case, right, where prices are going down, supply is up, demand's down.
Yeah.
What other data points and metrics can you utilize to assure yourself that going in on those discounted prices can make you more confident those prices will eventually go up as opposed to you going into a dying market?
So I can take on this one, right? And let's talk about maybe like everyone's definition of going into a dying market, right? To me, a dying market is jobs are being removed, right? So whatever, let's say Galveston, right? So which I don't know Galveston too well and what jobs are back there. So this is going to be just totally me speaking nonsense, so to say, right? Let's say Galveston was oil and gas as well, right? Let's say Galveston was really big in the medical centers, like in speech, right? And let's say we realized that those jobs were being removed because of the reports we read, whether it's the news, whether we went to the city council meeting or the city halls, right? And let's say we realized the school system as well is just going to crap, right? Those right there would be two areas I look into, jobs as well as school system. But let's say we look at Galveston and we realize those two things are not the indicator and it might be another factor. For me, if I was to do buy and hold on single family homes and knowing that that's more of a cash flow as well as a long-term play, I would like to see like, hey, what happened in the past 3 years in Galveston? Is this normally like the cycle to where like during this time of year or maybe like every 2-3 years it like goes down, then it has like a big spike up? Like, is there like a natural curve that happens ever so often? So if I can figure out that and see that maybe during this time or every 3 to 5 years this what happens, I would go in and buy in Galveston for long-term holds. When it comes to flip, because of how fast you try to get in and out of a flip, it would basically be throwing money away. So it first have to be on your exit strategy, knowing like whether it's a dying market, right? School, jobs and school system. And then last but not least, what's the reason for you getting in there? Yeah.
Where do you get your data from? Like
Huh?
historical data? Where y'all typically go for that?
So my tap in is right there. Reason why my tap in is right there, right? So I believe I can be great at everything, right? I don't care what no one says. I believe I can be good at everything, but I believe I can be better in things I enjoy doing. So anything that I don't enjoy doing, I normally look for someone who enjoys doing that one thing and see if we can work together. I believe Matthew enjoys what he does by pulling the information, and that as well as he has training and access that I don't have. So I'm pretty sure there's ways to find it, but when it comes anything to market data, I normally call or email Matthew so that way he can send it over to me. So let's say I want like whether it's 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and I'm like call him and say like, hey, how fast or like how soon can I get it? And let's say you can say like, hey Shaq, I can get it to you like in a week, 2 weeks, I don't know. If it still falls within that window, I would say great, but like if not, then I will go and try to source it myself. And I'll try to go off of the MLS historical data. Okay, so I know there's a lot of information that came to you, right? Some of it's probably you all already knew, and it's probably repetitive, Here not next weekend, the following weekend, Matthew is going to be talking to a group of us, but it's not going to be over. This is going to be what he was telling you just now, but when he break down the different market types. If you would like to be a part of that, please let Kelly know, and she can help you how to best get to there. Other than that, everybody, for the next roughly 30 minutes or hour, we're just going to mingle, chill. Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it, and hopefully you were able to get some information here that can help you buy your next deal.
Thank you.